Welcome to Abnormal, the podcast for normal people who want to do abnormal things. My guest today is taking on one of the hardest physical challenges in the world. But today we're going to talk all about it. Seb Harris, welcome to Abnormal.
Thank you for having me, mate. Excited to be here.
Okay, so as I said in the intro, you are doing one of the hardest challenges, well, at least that I've ever heard of. But to give a bit of context to everyone listening, you are training for, what's it called? The Arctic Triple.
So it's called the Arctic Triple. There's 3 events. The first one is
everything about it, because I've been trying to do my research on it, and even when I'm reading all the stats, it doesn't seem real to me, but it must seem very real to you.
Well, I'm kind of in the naive stage of not really fully understanding it still, I think. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have tried it.
Go on, what does it contain? What is it?
So there's three events. The first one is a 32km Skimo with 4K elevation.
Is Skimo just cross-country skiing? Is that the same thing, or?
It's, yeah, similar. It's, basically you ski up on they're thinner and lighter skis they're called skins underneath, so you don't slip down the hill. And once you get to the top of the hill, you have to de-skin, basically take off these things underneath, and then ski down the hill on the same skis. And then once you basically do this course, you have to navigate, go up and down. So that's 32k with 4k elevation. And before 2 weeks ago, I skied once in my life. So that's so that's the first biggest challenge. I've actually had to learn how to ski, so that's in March. The events are basically spread out.
Okay.
Yeah. The events are spread out by 11 weeks each year.
So it's in the first event, and then it's an 11-week break, and then the second event, and then an 11-week break, and then third event.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so the cross-country ski, the Skimo, is in March. End of March?
Yeah. March, in middle of March, like March 10th, March 15th as a period.
So you are purely focused on learning how to ski at the moment.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks I've been just grinding the skiing, just learning, trying not to injure myself and break a leg, basically.
Oh, mate, I can
then
imagine.
That would be challenge over.
It's such a dangerous sport, especially when you actually get out there and you realize just what you put yourself through and the hazards that are out there, the number of ACLs and shit they get done through skiing. Obviously, touch wood, that's not going to happen to you. So you got 32 Ks of Skimo, and then what's after that? What's the second leg?
The second leg is a 100-mile or 160-kilometer trail run with 7,000 meters elevation.
Oh my God. I got Wilson, the producer, just shaking his head at them.
Yeah. Actually, my best mate just did the country to capital, 70k. And he was like, mate, I don't know how you're going to do it. It wasn't even halfway. And this
is more up your street, right? This is more up your street. Like you've at least ran before. You've done an Ironman. You did an Ironman last year.
I did Ironman last year. That was basically I did a half and a full Ironman, and that was the only endurance events I've ever done. But I've never done a long run race. So I'm still in that naive kind of, I think if I try to do a 50k or 100k first, I'd be kind of fucked, because I'll be like, I know that this sucks already.
It's also one of those where because I've got it written down on paper here, right? And I've got a 100-mile trail, but then I don't work in miles. And then you say 162k, so you're like, oh my God, that's insane. And the elevation on that, go on, what's the elevation on that one?
That's 7,000. So 7,000 meters.
Right. That's that's nuts. And how long do you think that will take?
I mean, the pros I think will probably do it. I'm not really exactly sure, but for me, obviously not being a pro, will probably be around over 30 hours, I would say.
30 hours non-stop.
Yeah, I mean, I'd walk and I'd probably have to sit down and hopefully get someone to maybe give me a massage or something at some point. Yeah, the idea is not to stop or sleep. I think if I was to sleep, then it would be game over. I'd just continue sleeping. So My goal
Yeah,
would be not sleep, but time wise, I'm not really bothered. It's more just I
just
want to
get it
just try
done.
and finish. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so you've got a 32-kilometer Skimo, 162-kilometer ultra trail with the Skimo 4K elevation, the trail 7K elevation, and then what's the final leg?
Final leg is a triathlon, which is the same distance as an Ironman. So,
So an Ironman.
so an Ironman, yeah, yeah,
Topping it off with an Ironman. Cool.
yeah, yeah.
Just the cherry on
So,
top. Well, that's easy for you, right? You've done that, so you know what to expect on that one.
it's weird to say, but I'm the most confident. Yeah, for an Ironman, that will be the easiest,
That's crazy.
which is
That's
strange to
crazy.
say.
That
Yeah,
also goes to show just how hard this challenge is going to be. Like if you're staring down the barrel of an Ironman, you'll say, "Yeah, this is my leg. This is the good leg." Then you're looking
yeah,
at
and
your leg thinking,
considering,
like, "Oh
yeah,
god."
I mean, yeah, I still can't really even say that. I'm really very much a beginner as well. And I've done one half and one full, so I'm still very much. I mean, I know at least I can do it, but I'm
Mm.
still really, I'm not experienced.
And the
So,
Ironman, break that down for us in terms of distances. So it's a swim, a bike, and a run. But what are
yeah.
the distances of each of those in an Ironman?
So the swim is 3.9K. The bike is 180K, and then the run is a marathon, so 42K, I
Jeez.
think, marathon.
Yeah,
So yeah,
42K is marathon. Yeah. And I
yeah. So
assume going off the trend of the other two that they've also got a lot of elevation, the bike and the run.
a fair amount. Yeah, I don't know the exact numbers, but it is a fair amount. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
Well,
again, to be honest, it's just to finish is the goal. I'm
yeah,
not
yeah,
as fussed about the time at the moment. I mean, I said that for the Ironman, and then I just got really competitive and wanted to
yeah, classic.
do as best I can. So we'll see. But I think by that point I'll just be destroyed. So I'll just be like, yeah, just finish the race
But I
if I
mean,
can.
because so there's 11 weeks between each of these stages, you said, yeah.
Hmm.
And even that, like
Yeah.
11 weeks, it's enough to recover, but it's still not that long. It's not that long to like get a proper training block in to like recovering from a skimo, a 32k skimo. That'll take a decent amount of time, especially if you're not really used to it. Like, how long did it take for you to recover from your Ironman last year?
That was kind of tricky because I kind of messed up and I didn't really train my stomach. So a lot of the recovery was stunted really because I didn't really eat for about 2 days, two
What
or
do you
three
mean
days. I
train? What do
barely
you mean
ate.
train your stomach?
So basically, when you're doing like endurance events, you really should train your stomach to be able to eat as much as you need. So,
Mm.
and when you're doing the Ironman and stuff, I was eating a lot of gels, and I had this like this liquid, carbo liquid, basically. So you put this sachet in the water, and I had six of these on the bike, one every hour, plus like gels, at least one an hour, and then on the run like two or three, two an hour. And by the end, I couldn't even have any more. So I couldn't really fuel. I started getting cramps. My stomach was destroyed, and then afterwards, I couldn't really eat for about 2 or 3 days. I
Jeez.
mean, this was my fault because a lot of people, everyone told me I need to do this, and I just
Just the
didn't listen.
naivety kicks in.
Honestly, yeah, I just said, be fine. And then, yeah, so the recovery was not great. Yeah, I couldn't really eat. And then I also was saying, oh, I'm never going to do one of these again. So I was just basically a potato for a few weeks. I didn't want to do anything. I was kind of in like depression, yeah. So I can't really tell exactly how long the recovery was, but to be honest, I would say like at least a week,
Mm.
maybe
Yeah,
longer,
and
two
then
weeks, and then
I mean, they say like your central nervous system will actually take a battering in events like this. Like even when you run a marathon, it takes a long time for your internal systems to recover, not only your muscles. I can't really talk from experience with this sort of challenges. I have ran 2 marathons before, and I did that last year, and they were like 4 weeks apart. And
Mhm.
stupidly, I ran the first one and, actually quite enjoyed it because the adrenaline was high. It was my first ever one. I trained hard for it. But then stupidly, I tried to get back into training as quick as possible to stay ready for the second one. And I must have like gone for my first run like 4 days after or 5 days after, and then like kept the training up. And by the time the second one came around, I was absolutely shagged. Like my feet were killing me, my joints were killing me. Everything was just so dusty. And so I can't even begin to imagine for this what your body's going to be going through, like muscular and also like your central nervous system and mental challenges as well.
Yeah. Well, I think you're. I mean, sorry, no, go on. I was just going to add to that.
No, go on.
With the the recovery time, a lot like similar people said to me, yeah, you need to be like 2 weeks off your feet and all this. And then me and my friend tried to run a marathon not too long after, maybe like a few weeks after. I think we were maybe not actually no, it was like 7 weeks after, thinking it would be kind of easy. Since we just did a marathon after all this, we got to like 30K and we were like our legs were just gone. And he did the Ironman as well with me.
Right.
So the recovery probably after 7 weeks actually probably still wasn't
pretty humbling experience.
very humbling. Yeah, we were like, how have we managed to just lose all this fitness? But maybe like you said, I think the recovery it's just
it's hard when you're an athlete, especially like yourself. You're obviously I mean we'll get into it in a minute about your past and stuff in sports you used to play, but you're obviously an athlete. You're competing at high level. You say you're not a professional like Ironman runner or all this stuff, but you're able to compete in these challenges and complete them. And naturally, that competitive element kicks in. It's not in your nature to want to sit around like a potato for 4 weeks after a marathon, because I know how it feels. Like you just rightly or wrongly, probably wrongly, you think you need to get back out there as soon as possible, and if you don't use it, you'll lose it, and all this sort of stuff goes through your head. But when you talk to the professionals, which I'm sure you are in this whole process, and we'll get into that in terms of like coaches, they're the ones probably telling you, no, you need to chill out here a bit.
Yeah, definitely. I experience the way when I'm not training or if I feel like I'm not doing enough, it's more like an anxiety almost. And like, I mean, a lot of people I think have that similar thing. It's like, oh yeah, I'm really tired, but I don't feel good that I'm not training. And you do need someone else to tell you, mate, that's probably why you need to have a rest. Because you're like mentally you're not in the best position to go and like smash your body again.
Yeah.
And that's like super important. I think that is one of the best things about having a coach is that like being self-coach is obviously great because you're saving money, probably not spending money on coaching and stuff. But I think a coach telling you like the best people in the world saying you need to rest. Like, obviously that means something.
Yeah, for sure. And you do need, sometimes you do need that external voice telling you the hard things that you need to hear. Like
Sure.
even when I was back in my rugby days in the UK, it's similar to when you like get injured or concussed or something, and then it's not your decision, it's the doctor's decision, right, to take you off and all that stuff. It's an external voice telling you what's right. Likewise, when you're if you have a PT or a coach, they schedule in rest days and they active recovery, and because you need to understand how important that is and how much the body actually needs that. But I completely relate to the feeling of those negative thoughts slipping in when you have those extended periods where you're not moving, or at least you're not training like you're used to training. Because it's a hard place to be, especially when that's what you're used to. That's how you function. But knowing that that's what you need at times as well. You need to just unwind, chill out, and so you can go big the next time you train.
Yeah, and that comes more from experience than anything else. Like you can be told 100 things, or you can be told the same thing 100 times even. And like if you've never experienced it, or you haven't gone through the process of basically fucking up, really.
Yeah.
You do something, and obviously it wasn't the right decision. Then you're going to learn yourself. Someone telling you, or me, personally anyway. I don't know, I don't do too well. People just telling me something. If I don't then experience it myself.
Yeah, you need
So
to go through it. So
yeah.
speaking of going through things, which one of these stages then of the ski, the run, and the Ironman gives you the most shivers? Which ones are you most afraid of?
Um, I mean, the ski at the very start, the ski because I don't ski. I've never really skied. I skied like once in my life. So learning how to ski was a big challenge.
I still can't believe
Uh,
that.
well, that was one of the reasons I wanted to do it is because I wanted to learn something, like learn a new skill. So when I did the Ironman, I bet I couldn't even swim like 50 meters at the start. And then within 7 months, I just was trying to swim at the start anyway. I was trying to swim almost every day just to try and be able to swim. And that for me, the feeling of being proud was something I wanted to find again, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I was so proud that I'd learned how to swim, and then I remember even just on the start line of the first Ironman being like, "Mate, like you're actually about to swim this crazy distance, and you couldn't even swim 50 meters." So
yeah, that's crazy.
that feeling of being proud was something I really wanted to almost look for, um, because it felt so good. So yeah, like learning how to ski, it definitely was kind of daunting, and it still is daunting. But the 100 miles scares the shit out of me, to be honest.
Rightly so. I'm glad you're scared because at least that will help your preparation and you'll put the work in, which I've got no doubt. Is this? Am I right in saying it's in Norway? It's in the Arctic Circle, right? In Norway,
Yeah, yeah,
the
it's
whole
all in.
all the competition, all the stages.
Yeah, yeah, all in Norway, which gives it a lot of elevation because it's on these islands in Lofoten. So that's why this is all different types of terrain and stuff, and it's
Have you been
beautiful
there?
there. That's
Have you
I've
been
never
there?
been there. I've never been there. I've seen a lot of photos.
Yeah. Are you going to go before the
Um,
race to check it out?
Probably not. Probably
No.
not. I
Leave
mean,
it as a
probably should.
surprise. Why not?
Yeah. I mean, I'll go for the ski, obviously, and for the run, maybe I can do a bit of recon when I'm for the ski.
Oh my
But
god.
we'll
Is, and
see.
is it
We'll
is
see.
it like is it a legit race as well? Like, are there going to be other people there on the start line with you doing all the stages? So it's not just like a one man band.
So no, it is like a legit race. However, in each event there's different distances, and there's not many people that will do all three of the full distances as well. I mean, there's only
Right. Okay.
I think this year I think there's only maybe like two or three of us,
Wow.
and there's only been like 20 people who have done it all before in 1 year
20
basically.
people.
Yeah,
So only 20 people have completed what you're training towards now.
yeah, yeah.
Fair enough to you, man.
But I
That's
mean, I'm not.
mate,
Yeah,
21. 21,
I'm
man.
hoping. Yeah, I'm hoping to be another one. But like I said, I understand that it's a very big, and I'm not like, oh yeah, I'm going to complete this challenge. I haven't said to anyone I'm going to complete this challenge. I'm just saying I'm going to
Hey,
try
say it loud and
because
proud. Say it loud and proud. I've got no doubt. But mate, maybe the element of naivety is a skill in this. You know, like thinking of it a different way. So many people would have not attempted this because they're not naive, because they know more about it than you. But maybe some people out there would be capable of doing it if they trained, but they just never attempted it because they're very aware of the challenge in front of them. Whereas you're going in
100%.
naive,
Yeah,
thinking, F it, like I could probably, I don't know if I can do this, I don't know if I can't do it, but I'm going to give it a go. And at least you're putting yourself in the shop window, you know, you're giving yourself a chance.
that's what I like to think as well. I like
I'm
to
trying
think
to
that.
like boost you up and, you know, you're going to get
Yeah.
this done.
No, I think there is a little bit of that, and especially with the running,
Mm.
because yeah, like I think if I'd run a 50 miler or whatever,
Yeah.
100k, built it up, then I'd know how much it sucks, even at halfway. But now at least I mean, it's positive and negative, obviously. Obviously, there's the experience, but even for example, in the skiing, the naivety of, like you said, someone being able to kind of, they didn't think something would be possible, because they've done it almost,
Mm.
and they recognize how hard it is. When I was like when I've been skiing, my coach has been basically pushing me to go on different runs. I obviously we started very easy, and then the last few weeks we went last week we went like completely off piste on a up some crazy mountain, and I would never have done that on my own
Mm.
because I wouldn't have thought that I could do it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, Whereas this guy telling you that maybe actually, or actually just showing you can do it, makes a big difference.
Is your coach?
So yeah,
Is am I right in saying it's Matisse Dumas? Is that your coach?
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
watched your YouTube video. Love it, by the way. Can't wait
Thank you very
for more
much.
to come out. I think it's such a cool content piece. What you're doing. I mean, he seems like
Thank
he
you.
knows his stuff, right?
Yeah, he's pretty knowledgeable. He's lived in Chamonix for like 10 years, and so he knows all the faces. He's I've got full confidence in him. If he thinks I can go up a certain place, I trust him more than me because I've never done
Mm,
skiing. That was
for
the other
sure.
weird thing is trusting like my body. If I come up to a slope or something, uh, as a complete beginner, it's intimidating standing on top of a piece and it looks kind of steep and all this. And my body's like, oh, like lean back. Don't, you're kind of scared. And
Yeah.
he's telling me, now you need to lean forward. I'm going to try and he knows I don't. My body doesn't know anything. You know what I mean? So you got to
It's one of those.
trust the
It's
people.
petrifying. It's petrifying when you're. Man, I can't believe you're going off piste already. That's crazy. You're obviously a fast learner,
Uh, I got good coaches. I got good coaches.
or you've
Got
got
good
to be a fast
coaches.
learner, man. If you're doing this in March,
I've got to try to be. Yeah, I've got to
yeah.
try to be. But like, it's fun. I'm enjoying. That's why I love learning. If I'm learning something
Hmm.
and I'm like fully committed to it, then that's fun for me. And so
And how did you? I know you said you did half Ironman last year. How did you get the idea to do this? Like, where did that ideation come from?
for the this challenge this
Yeah,
year.
for this year's challenge, because I know all your content. A lot of your content was like, oh, like what's next,
Mhm.
big things coming. But I want to know, like, how the hell did you decide to come and do this one?
So yeah, I spent a lot of time kind of after I finished Ironman. It was a lot of oh, like what am I going to do? Um, because I basically went from one day to the next of training so many hours a week, um, to basically doing nothing. And I had that before when I played tennis all my life. I went from being a tennis player to being in my head like almost like nothing because I'd basically
Mm,
related my self-worth to my sport, which is a good thing and a bad thing. Um, because once it was gone, it felt like I was almost nothing. But anyway, I had a similar thing with the Ironman, essentially, where I just didn't know what I was doing, and I searched for. I remember actually the night I found it, I was basically just looking what are the hardest physical challenges, um, and this was one of the ones that came up, and I was like, yeah, that is hard because I don't know how to ski.
that is hard.
That is challenging. So I said, this could be cool. Is it actually possible? Would many people want to help me maybe? Because obviously I wouldn't be able to learn how to ski
Mm,
like I'm doing without a lot of the help I'm getting. First of all, money wise, super expensive.
so
Um,
expensive skiing. Wow.
that is crazy. I don't know how people go on these family of six holidays skiing
Mate,
for like a week and a half.
it's
It's just crazy.
I mean, I've skied a bit, I've snowboarded a bit, but like the people that grow up having doing 3 holidays a year, I'm like, wow, that is an upbringing. And when
Yeah, yeah,
I did a uni ski trip when I was at university, and I was so happy to be on it. But I had a lot of friends at ex uni who were obviously pretty good upbringings, lots of skiing, and all they wanted to do was go up on the in the Alps and drink beers and dance and to the DJs, which is obviously class as well. But I was like, guys, I'm getting on that first chairlift. I'm skiing all day. I don't know the next time I'm going to ski after this. And sod's law, I haven't skied since then. So I haven't been on a ski
You
holiday
have to.
since then.
You'll have to come out. You'll have to come out and visit. You'll have to come
Mate,
skiing.
so keen. So I'll get the content crew out and we'll document the whole journey.
Mate, that'd be so cool. You come and
It'd be
ski.
epic. Mate, I want to talk.
That'd be great.
So that's the decision process, right? So you've decided, or you found this on Google, whatever. I know you're getting help through this whole project. Are you able to talk a bit about how that came about? Like, did you reach out to your sponsors? Did they reach out to you? How did that? You've got this idea in your head. I want to do this, but you need help from either coaches, sponsors, all that sort of stuff. So I'm very interested in this process myself. So I'd love to sort of find out how it actually came about.
So the biggest help right now is Red Bull. They obviously I'm not a Red Bull athlete. I'm not at all saying I'm a Red Bull athlete because that's not what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I reached out to them initially saying I'm like, would you be interested in working together? I think it could be cool. Like they're trying to develop a more lifestyle aspect to the brand, not just extreme athletes.
Cool.
And
Like that.
and I said I'd be really interested in working with you. It could be cool. Da, da, da. And they said, "Oh, it's really cool that you reached out because we're about to reach out to you because we're creating this team, basically, this Red Bull like almost in like ambassador program. So it's people who aren't professional athletes but who are really into sport. They show it on social media, decent level, and um, and they said, yeah, we're creating this program with a few different people. We'd love to have you. Also, if you're doing a cool project or you have a cool project, we'd love to support someone who's doing a good project. And I said, well, funny you should say that because this is what I want to do. And they were like, okay, well, we'll see what we can do. And they put me in touch with, they got in touch with Matisse. And
is he a Red Bull athlete?
he is not, but
No.
I think I'm not exactly sure what the deal is with Red Bull and him. I think that's more like behind doors.
Yeah, just like
contracts.
They probably know everyone, right? They probably know everyone in that world.
Yeah, and I don't know if they were maybe going to work together or not at all. I'm not exactly sure, but basically he was quite like hype at the time. But still is fairly hype because he'd climbed Everest with one of the biggest YouTubers in France last year.
Oh, the documentary that came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched that with my wife. Unreal.
Really?
Unreal.
Yeah, it's good. It's very good.
Well,
very good.
My wife was actually trying to get me. She's like, right, talk to Seb, and then talk to Matisse because she loved that YouTube. It was a French YouTuber, right? I forgot his name. I watched it.
Inoxtag.
That's the one. And she was like,
Yeah.
you want to talk to the trainer of both of these guys because then you'll get some insights into how they train and all that sort of stuff as well. Anyway, sorry, I interrupted you. Continue.
No. So yeah, and then basically they got in touch with Matisse, and it kind of we found ways, and now he's helping me train. They're supporting it. They've been great. They've helped me with like travel, hotels, equipment, getting in touch with people, being supportive in terms of coaching and stuff. So that's like been unreal for me. So yeah.
That's class, man. So and this is Red Bull France. Am I right in saying?
Yeah, Red Bull France. Yeah.
That's so cool. If you like, this is such a cool project. And are they also playing a role in the content side of things as well?
Well, Matisse's role is also to help me train, but also to make content. So he's filming a lot of stuff because that's one of his passions is videography and stuff.
So your YouTube, for example, that's my reference point. Your YouTube video, is that Matisse on the camera?
The first one, no. The first one is another French guy who I've started working with the last few months called
it's very
Hugo.
Very well edited, Hugo.
Yeah, I'll tell him he'll be. I was really impressed with him, and he's a great guy. He's super nice. He's nice to have around, young, like really passionate, works hard.
That's
So
cool.
he's
Yeah,
cool.
man,
And
when
we
I was watching
just
the
finished the
video,
second one.
oh, you have.
Sorry, go on. Yeah.
Well,
Sorry,
it
go
was
on.
on
I'll
your
cut you.
YouTube anyway. When I was watching the video, I was kind of expecting, because it was like your first video, I was kind of expecting it to be like self-edited and a bit like vlog style, kind of what I've been doing at the moment. So it doesn't look that good. But I saw it and it looked like production, and I was like, oh wow, this is something I can get around, and I'm sure thousands of other people are going to get around, because it's really the start of a journey. And not only for you yourself in terms of the training, the competition, the challenges, but by having the high quality content that you do, and the setup on the YouTube channel and the support, it's just going to be such amazing content to watch for everyone else whilst you go through this.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. He'll be super happy to hear that as well. But I think, just the content side of things, I kind of thought that with a project this big, it'd be a shame not to try and invest and have uh, like a really cool, at least if it doesn't like whatever, if it doesn't do well in terms of statistics or whatever, I'm going to be glad that I took the time and effort to make something what I think is cool. Even in like a year, 2 years, whatever, I'll look back and be like, I didn't miss an opportunity on trying to make something look good and interesting and entertaining for people. So yeah, that's why I thought I can't edit myself. I'm like YouTube is really hard. So I respect you for self-editing and all that, and also vlog style stuff is super hard. So respect to you for doing that. I know how long it takes and how hard it is. And people can watch it, even if it's like a 2 minute video, like you spent hours on a 2 minute video. So even a longer video is super hard. So I was like, look, if I can't edit myself, if I can pay someone to do it, and if I have the opportunity to do that, it'll be great. And Hugo is great. And yeah, the second one is coming out soon. So that will be,
Little
and
tease.
he's just sent it to me last night. So I'm super happy.
And it's good. It looks good.
But it looks good. I think it looks good.
What's your cadence of it? Are
Again,
you sticking to a schedule that you want? Is it like every week, every 2 weeks?
we're gonna go for like, it probably won't be as often as once a week or once every. It maybe we were gonna try once every 2 weeks, but it's quite tough because I
Yeah.
don't live with him. Like if he has to come and do all the videos and stuff, so we'll try once every three-ish weeks, I'd say.
hmm
Um,
Yeah, it makes sense.
but
I mean,
with
the good thing about the content is that, like, again, not to sound bad or any negative vibes in your actual competition, but regardless of the outcome in terms of you succeeding or not succeeding or any ups and downs that you have, it doesn't really affect the content, because the story's still going to be bloody fantastic. Like, it's going to be you raw, really, really in the hurt locker. Like all those
yeah,
mental ups and downs, physical challenges. Like, it's just going to be. That's what people love, right? They love the realness. They love being inspired by other people doing hard things, abnormal things. So it's good for the content that whatever happens.
yeah, that's what people say as well, and I'm kind of like, yeah, I agree. But for me, I'm so competitive that I just want to
Good.
finish the thing. And like I've kind of said that I'm really trying to set out it's kind of hard for me. I'm kind of just trying to set out my priorities at the moment. And in terms of like training, family and content and stuff, and figuring out where everything comes into it. Uh, and training and family is at the top. Content, obviously, I'm trying to put out great content. Um, but I kind of said if I start making content just for other people, not because I want to do it,
Mm.
I'm kind of doing the wrong thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a slippery
Um,
slope when you go down that path, I think. I mean, again, like how old are you? Sorry, Seb.
25 at the moment.
25.
25.
Wow.
Yeah.
Achieved so much already. It's amazing. But in terms of the content stuff, it's again, like, me. I'm kind of going through that journey as well at the moment. You're a lot more ahead than in your journey than I am, but it's tough, right? Like some videos you genuinely love creating, and it's like very organic. and some I'll be the first to admit I've put out because like I want to get views or you know it might boost my engagement or something like that, when actually it's been a bit of a chore to make. I couldn't be bothered. It's not. One thing I will say is that I've always been authentic in the videos, and I think I mean I followed you for quite a while now, and I've always loved them because it just seems like such a real bloke, normal struggles. I also weirdly when my wife and I discuss, it's weirdly similar stories, like ex-pro athlete, British
Wow,
guy.
you were a better athlete than I was for sure.
It's all
They're
subjective, isn't
100%.
it?
Well, pro. I was not a pro, so you were more of a high
Well,
level athlete,
similar
and
backgrounds.
yeah, similar background, but also I've been following your content a lot, and so I think your content's great. So I'm honestly
I appreciate
your
that.
your content, and I'm not just saying this, but I really do enjoy a more, you're not just like flashy, and that's what I enjoy.
Yeah,
And
well,
it's
sadly, man, life isn't flashy. I wish it was.
this is
But one
true. This
thing,
is
but
true.
one thing, like in terms of on your content and your story, like what I love is that you're an English guy, you're living in France, or you were living in France, you're fluent in French, and for me, even just that one thing as a trigger and an inspiration is something that I've really clung on to because as it's no secret now, my wife is French, and I'm really trying to learn French, and I've stagnated
How's that going?
recently. It's okay. Like I think I've progressed, but there's levels to it. You know, there's levels to. Okay, I've progressed now, so I can have conversations with my wife. Versus if I bumped into a random French person in Paris, would I be able to speak to them? And it's like, okay, there's a big gap there. So now we're kind of like on the accelerated path. We refuse to speak English a lot of the times. We speak in French. We text in French. Because in my head, and you know, it's been made clear to me, it's kind of the least I can do out of respect to my wife is try and be as fluent as possible in her language, because her English is actually better than mine at times. So that's, you know, that's one of my objectives. But then also with your content, it's all, a lot of it is health and fitness focused, right? And lifestyle, health and fitness. And I've retired from rugby. You've stopped playing tennis. You were now searching for this next thing to do. You did Ironmans. You're doing this huge challenge, and I'm just looking at this content, and I'm like, oh my god, I need to speak to Seb, because I think we've got a lot in common. And then I saw
Yeah.
you were like running around Ascot, right? Is that where you're from? Is that where your family are from, Ascot?
Yeah, Maidenhead, but I literally I run around everywhere around here. So I
And
remember, yeah,
I saw that and I was like, are you kidding me? Just another
yeah,
thing to add. Like my family are also like there or thereabouts and knocking around Ascot. And
yeah.
so yeah, so the content side is something that I'm extremely interested in. And I kind of want to ask you how that journey started for you, like separate to the health and fitness. Your pages, I think your I checked your TikTok today. It's nearly 1 million on TikTok. That's crazy.
Yeah, so yeah, like 900,000, somewhere around that. Yeah.
900,000, and then around what you want on Instagram, like 200 something.
Uh, couldn't tell you exactly. I've
So,
less than 200, 100, 180 maybe,
but
180
when did this
or
whole
so.
journey start for you, and like what prompted you to want to start creating content?
Well, my ex-girlfriend, I basically started. She's very into social media, and she enjoyed it a lot, and she was creating a lot of. Well, we actually made a video together about French and English cultures actually, uh, and people seem to find that link kind of entertaining and funny. And then we're making more content together, like similar thing, French English cultural humory sketches kind of thing. Um, and that's how we gained a lot of kind of, I'd say, interest. I
Hmm.
remember at the very start, I think at one point on TikTok, it was like 10,000 plus followers a day kind of thing,
Wow.
um, which was like, we were like, oh yeah, it's fun. Well, we weren't really doing it for any reason other than it was just like, yeah, funny.
Mm.
Um, and then I I created my own account. And again, she was helping me a lot, to be honest, because it was all in French and all the stuff. And I still didn't really speak. I just didn't speak French really. It was more just trying to learn. It was kind of like the process of me learning how to speak French. And then more recently, probably in the last year and a half, we started making more of our own content because we didn't want to. We basically ended up working together, playing tennis together, living together. Our friends were the same. We'd hang out. Like it was basically just everything was, yeah. And I wanted to kind of make work work and make everything else a girlfriend and boyfriend kind of thing.
Mm.
So we started making more content individually, and I started doing what I really am passionate about, which is sport.
Mm.
And then now I enjoy that aspect. Now me and her, we've split up, but she's doing like English guide. She's writing a book, helping
Wow.
people in France. So it's really cool what she's doing, and now we have our own little project. And I think work-wise, I'm doing something which I'm way more passionate about, which is
Yeah,
sport.
that's the key, right? That's the key. And it's crazy when you think about it that just by you starting sharing on TikTok and Instagram about what you were doing in life, right? It wasn't anything, you weren't, as you said, you weren't like doing anything incredibly special, but it was kind of different and it was your life. It
Yeah,
was real. People related to it or at least found it entertaining. And fast forward, however many years or months, you're now
yeah,
doing
3.5 years. Yeah,
3.5 years. Fast forward 3.5 years from starting that content journey, you're now training for one of the hardest races in the world in the Arctic Circle with a load of sponsors and working with Red Bull and doing content and doing your life that you actually want to do. That's fucking crazy, man. That's such an insane journey.
yeah. No, I'm very glad I have this opportunity. I'm not going to say. I think you could spout a lot of like motivational quotes and all this stuff, but genuinely, at the start, it was just for shits and giggles, really.
Mm.
And then it was just kind of doing a little bit every day. And it's like that old saying. I mean, I think it is kind of true. Is that you when the kettle's boiling, it doesn't boil until it gets to 100 degrees. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
it heats up all the way to 99 degrees. You don't see anything, nothing happens. But then once it gets
Love
to
that.
100 degrees, a 1 degree change, and it kind of looks like, oh, you've you're doing all these great things. Like, what did you do? Like this
Yeah.
one thing, what changed it? And it's like it's not really that. It's more just this 3 years slowly doing different things, and then you see that 1 degree change eventually, and people are, oh, you're doing all
Mm.
this cool stuff, but it's all the build up before that, to be honest. It's
Mate, it's
different things every
crazy.
day.
You're just exactly what you're describing there. And I'm not sure how much you've followed the podcast, but we've had quite a few like Olympians, content creators, entrepreneurs, like really successful businessmen and women on. And exactly what you described there is pretty much what every single one of them has described as part of their journey to where they are now. Because I'm talking to them because they're currently doing something abnormal and incredibly interesting, something I find inspirational, which is why I'm talking to you as well. But all of them say, yeah, but you don't see the last 10 years of suffer and pain and the lessons. And it's crazy. It's good because you can relate as an athlete as well. So you know that journey from a physical and competitive standpoint. But often these messages can get lost on social media and online where you're right. If someone were to follow you tomorrow and see your most recent content about training for this challenge, oh, what a sick life. He's 25 years old. Like, oh, so lucky, so lucky. He's like, hang on. Rewind the clock. 3.5 years.
Yeah.
You didn't know you were going to end up here, but it's been a long journey. And who's to say this won't even be the peak for you? You know, that's the crazy thing. This will be one challenge in the series of a whole load of other crazy challenges, I'm sure.
That's what I hope, but I would love that to be the case. But I'm definitely taking every day as it comes because I know that social media can also just you can just disappear. And I mean, yeah, I'd love this to be the start of a really cool journey where I just do lots of cool challenges and stuff. But on the other hand, I'm very aware that it can also end. Hopefully not, but we never know. So I'm trying to enjoy everything at the moment and trying to take in as much as I can. Um, but in terms of kind of going through the 3 years or however long for anyone's journey, uh, that's why I'm also really interested to see your uh, development, because I see you're working super hard. You're going to be, I think we hear it here. I'm gonna make a bold statement. One of the best podcasts in the world in a few
Say
years.
it. Say it louder for the people at the back.
I think if you keep going with the how much hard work, I mean, I can see it because I've only now started doing a lot more like editing myself and putting that side of work into things. So I see how much time and effort you put into what you're doing, and also quitting your job.
It's a
That's a
bold
pretty big
move.
deal. It's bold. It is bold.
It's a
But
big
I
gamble.
really think it is.
Yeah.
But if you didn't
Hey,
enjoy
you
it,
got to
then
make
it's
it.
not really a gamble.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, I'm lucky. I'm also very. I am. Luck is a big word that gets thrown around, but I am, in this sense, I'm very lucky to have like a wife that's supporting of this journey. So there is like the bets are hedged in one way in that sense. First of all, thanks for the kind words, Seb. Appreciate that. I do want to pick up on something that I'm very interested in terms of just actual work and career. Because as you said, I've just quit my job. You're 25 years old and you're now staring down the barrel of a lifetime of just doing epic stuff for the rest of your life, which sounds horrible. Was there ever was there ever a time where you were actually thinking, oh shit, I might actually have to get a real job here? And like, what was that career path looking like for you before this all kicked off?
Um, I've never really been someone who planned a lot. So I went to uni. I did a marketing degree, and and then I did a master's in business. And I was kind of like, yeah, probably maybe go into sales, go to London, do the classic,
Classic.
uh, and just kind of work in London. But then it kind of hit me that for me, a 9 to 5 working in office would just kill my soul. And I just, and luckily, when I was in America, that's when I started making my girlfriend and I started making the content, and that gave me the opportunity to not have to do that for now anyway.
Mm.
Um, so it wasn't it wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna make a conscious effort to do this, and and that will be my career for now. It was more just like, this is what I don't want to do, and I can avoid it right now. So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, got to respect that. Got to respect that. And to be honest, I want to preface this by saying I've said it quite a few times on this podcast before. I've got nothing against people or careers that are 9 to 5 and all that sort of
Oh
stuff
yeah, no,
and work life balance, because and I know you don't either. That's not what I'm saying, but it's just a different type of lifestyle, right? And if you're doing something in a job that you enjoy doing and it funds your lifestyle outside of that, that's the dream. Like that is
yeah.
genuinely that is a dream. That's a version of a dream. Like that's awesome. But a lot of the time that's not the case. And if you're not careful, you do get stuck in a job that you're maybe not so passionate about and you don't enjoy, which is, it's something that I was also staring down the barrel of. I was very close to slipping down that slope. And if I didn't make a drastic change, then, 20 years would go by, click of a fingers, and then you're looking back with a series of regrets. And I'm not saying that's for everyone, but that's just the situation that I was dealing with at the time.
Hmm.
So it's very interesting to hear that you're putting things off. I mean, it's going super well. I'm sure it'll keep going well. What were you said you spent some time in the US. Was that doing tennis? Was that playing tennis?
Yeah. So my all my education was in America. So
Wow.
I did I played tennis my whole life. I was a tennis player, and that was my goal growing up, was to go to American college on a scholarship. Uh, so that was eventually what I did. I got the chance to go to a small Division One in North Carolina, and I
North
met.
Carolina, Michael Jordan.
That's
Michael
right.
Jordan
Well,
territory.
not Michael Jordan territory, but UNC was a little bit out of my league, so unfortunately,
Right.
um, so unfortunately didn't go there. But where I went was great for me. I met uh, some of my best friends now, and my coach, where I grew up a lot. I grew up a lot in America. I
Mm.
was very soft when I arrived. Uh, and me and my coach did not get on at all because of that, pretty much. He was very tough on me. And I would look back, tough love.
Yeah.
But I was really soft. I was a bit of a bitch, to be honest.
Yeah, but look at you now.
Um,
You're about to ski 32 kilometers and you don't even ski.
well, I would put a lot of that down to him, actually, to be honest. He, anyway, we hated each other. He almost kicked me off the team. And then I came back and now we're like really good friends. So, yeah, so I stayed in America for 6 years,
Wow.
and
What was that like? What was it like living in the US?
different, different. They
In what
have
ways?
some interesting theories. They have some interesting ways of living. But for the most part, I actually really enjoy how positive overall the culture is, especially compared to Britain. We're a bit, I mean, it has its
Depressed.
positives and negatives. Yeah, a bit, a bit depressed, and it's also like if you're really enthusiastic about something, often people are like, "All right, mate, calm down."
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
less. It's more like, "Oh, like calm down. It's gonna be like around the corner. You'll see," kind of thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Whereas in
You wait.
America, yeah, like you wait, kind of thing. In America, if you're enthusiastic, it's like that's a positive thing, and I love that, to be honest. I think it's a way better way to live. It's a lot more enjoyable way to live than just being grumpy all the time. So
It is very British, isn't it, to like piss all over someone's dream and want people to fail. As much as I am British
yeah,
myself, and I do love the UK for some parts, but yeah, it's maybe not the best trait that we have as Brits in general.
yeah, not really. I mean, on the other hand, sometimes it's kind of the stiff upper lip is quite good because it's just like get on with things.
Mm.
That's one thing I do love about. I do love being British because it's like, yeah, just kind of get on with it sometimes. Um, but yeah, like you said, there is definitely a a thing that we do, which is just someone's being successful, and you just kind of,
Yeah.
you'll just wait, like
Yeah, it's
you'll
innate.
see.
It's in all of us. It's in all of us. But it's just how we can suppress that side of us as much as possible. I think. I mean, I'm not the worst for it, but I'm a jealous type. I'm a jealous. I'm a comparer. I
Hmm.
will look at people who are in a similar position to myself but doing a lot better. I'm like, damn it! Like, why am I like that? Why what? I'm like, look at my life. I'm like, I've got such a good life, man. That's such a good life. Like, be happy.
Mm.
Just enjoy what you've
Yeah,
got.
yeah, yeah.
Stop being
Do,
jealous. Stop being jealous.
do you think that's a lot of because of social media though, or is that like more because of you
I do.
personally?
I think social media accelerates it and adds fuel to the fire. I do think I've always been like this a little bit. Even when I was like younger playing rugby, and even when I was even like 13 years old, right, or 14, 15, you look at people in the England under 16 setup, and I was always jealous, always comparing myself to other people instead of just like staying in my lane and focusing on me. And that's something that's a skill that I've really had to learn as I've grown up, and probably one of the roughest lessons I've learned in the last year in particular with just focusing on your own life and you're not in competition with anyone. I say anyone but
Hmm.
yourself. Even yourself, you're not in competition with, right? You're just be the best you can be, and just like try and enjoy what you've got, because everyone's always looking over in social media. What else you got? What else you got? And really, the good stuff's right in front of you, right in front of your eyes.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Also, everyone just shows what's the best parts of their life, so it's easy to see everyone doing so well, but actually you don't. That's like 1% of their day, realistically. So I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
it's easier said than done. It's easier said than done. And what It's
Yeah,
super
I mean,
hard. It's
I
super
mean,
hard.
some of my content on Instagram is like my morning routines, right? And some of the ones that went viral, because they're pretty boring routines, right? They wake up at 5:30, do laundry, go to the gym, come back, eat breakfast, hang laundry. Some of the comments were like, "Oh, if this was my life, I'd kill myself." Kill yourself. Like, this is not an existence. And I'm like, I'm laughing, right? Because I'm like, this is real life. This is my real life.
What else do people do though? Well, I'm not really sure what.
I could show you like the beach in the morning if you want, but that's not me every day. That's me like once every 2 weeks. This is literally my
Yeah,
day to day. But I don't mind, right? People arguing in the comments is good engagement. I'm like, fuck it. Like, let them argue. Let them argue.
yeah. I quite like. I'm quite disappointed because I've never. I mean, luckily, I've never had that much hate. But like when I do get some dodgy comments, I like you maybe like you. I enjoy it, and I think it's kind of fun. It's kind of exciting. But
Yeah,
I've never had that type of comment, and that's just strange.
no, there are a couple posts in particular that blew up, and just caused a whole like thread of these arguments and DMs. I was like, wow, this is. And me and the boys just go to the pub and just scroll through the stuff, like comments and DMs. I like, it was funny. Anyway, I digress. Mate, I'm very interested, as you know, in training, health and fitness, day to day life. This training that you're doing for the big challenge. Can you talk us through like a typical day of what your day looks like at the moment?
Wake up, matcha tea, perfect routine in the morning. No,
Health.
I don't. Health is just number one. Um, to be honest, I wouldn't say I have like in terms of routine and stuff. I mean, it's easy to try and lie and say, yeah, I do this perfectly, but I try and get in a workout which has been scheduled by my running coach, which is normally at the moment kind of taking it slow to build up a base. So it'd be about an hour average. I'm averaging about an hour run every day. Sometimes it's longer. The weekends will be a longer run, like 2 hours. Uh,
Is that just like zone two
into
run? Or
Yeah, normal. I mean, it's a mix. So yesterday, like intervals. It's just finding a good balance. There'll be a lot of zone two, but then there is some interval sessions.
okay.
Uh, Running wise, I think I'm about 7 hours of running a week at the moment. That will probably get up to about 20 hours a week, um,
Wow.
20 hours. And then on top of that, I'm trying to, like when I'm skiing, it'll be a few hours a day. So the average hours per week would be about 14, 13 hours per week,
Of skiing.
including of like skiing and running. And then on top of that, there was strength training. So I'm trying to get in 3 strength trainings a week.
Mm.
Uh, that's depending on where I am.
Where are
If
you at the
I'm
moment?
In the moment, I'm in England. I'm at my parents' house, and I'm hoping to go to near Chamonix in the next few weeks and
And will
stay
that
there
be
for a few
you
months to train.
until fuck, that's so cool, man. That's
Hmm.
so cool.
Yeah, so that's the plan. Um, but yeah, average hourly training is probably an hour and a half a day, uh, give or take a few hours.
No, that seems
Um,
pretty manageable considering what you're actually training for. I assume
yeah, at
it's
the
going to
moment,
then
like
build up
yeah,
when you're in the Alps and training to build up your base, right?
yeah. So at the moment, it's purely just to prepare my body so I don't get injured. Uh,
Hmm.
but yeah, it's not crazy amount of training at the moment. Hour and a half. I mean, you can fit that in. I can fit it in. Luckily, I don't have like we were talking about a lot of restrictions in terms of a job or a manager. So I'm very luckily I have the ability and chance to fit it in wherever really. Uh, but it's not. Yeah, it's all right at the moment.
That's
It's
pretty
gonna
good.
build up. It's
Yeah,
gonna
it's
build
obviously
up.
going to ramp up, especially when you head over there to do on-site training. Have you been told many things outside of training, like diet and recovery and all that sort of stuff? Have your coaches got involved in that front?
Um, a little bit, a little bit. I would like to think from my experience, I've got a decent knowledge of this type of thing as well from past experience and stuff. So I haven't actively sought out anyone like a nutritionist or anything. But I think, I mean, I that will be part of the plan.
Hmm.
But I kind of just I try not to eat bad. I don't try and
Yeah.
eat like bad food. I try and eat a decent carb meal before training, and then after training to replenish glycogen. So like a lot of pasta, rice, eggs, chicken, and then I take a few vitamins. Take vitamin C every day. Nothing too like crazy, to be honest.
Yeah,
Um,
fair enough. Again, I'm sure this will ramp up when you get the training load in. What's the biggest risk for you doing all of this?
um, there's two. I'd say there's two. The first one is getting. This is the less important one. Getting injured and not completing the challenge.
Hmm.
Um, because like, or even like get in an avalanche. I guess that's a fairly big risk.
That's a pretty
Um,
big risk.
uh, that
So
would
there is
probably
a
be a fairly
real
big
there
risk.
is a real risk of avalanche.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Um, I mean, hopefully it's avoidable, but
Yeah, I mean that's a
but
whole that adds a whole another element, right? I'm sure you've got to go through training for that and knowing what to do
mhm.
in case disaster strikes.
Yeah, yeah. Which is great. Why I've got Matisse and
Mm.
he's kind of helping me a lot through that. The other risk is uh, kind of losing myself in social media. Like I'm doing this challenge, so I need to like be someone different than I actually am, if that makes sense. Posting, oh, like this is what I'm doing. Like you said, kind of creating these false narratives about my routines or something. It's like
Mm.
saying that I'm doing all this specific training and diet and stuff. And it's like, yeah, I do take care of these things, but I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say, oh, I'm gonna try. I mean, that's what I'm scared of is just becoming something which I'm not. Um, and also then just not spending enough time with people, being on my phone a lot, and not really being present and enjoying when I'm with my family, for example, or with my
Mm.
friends. That's what I'm also kind of scared of because it's easy to just be on the phone and
Yeah, it's dangerous, isn't it? But I also, from that question, I love how you put the risk of social media ahead of the risk of an avalanche. I mean, that goes to show the danger of social media, right?
yeah.
But yeah, you're exactly right there. It's two very different types of risks. One very physical in the actual race itself, and training, which is, I mean, it's exciting, right? Your adrenaline is gonna be absolutely pumping the whole way around. And then the second one is, I think it's probably one that more people can relate to than the first one that we've all got to be aware of. Myself, I'm terrible, especially since starting creating content. I'm now, yeah, on socials so much more, and got to be very conscious to put my phone down when I'm in social settings and around family and friends, all that sort of stuff. So
Yeah.
good bits of advice there. And we've probably got time for just one more question, Seb. And it's a question that I ask all my guests when they come on. As you know, the podcast is called Abnormal. I started it because I want to shine a light on people that are doing abnormal things like yourself. I mean, literally by definition, what you're training for is extremely abnormal. But also to shine a light on the process, right? To show that the people who are achieving these amazing things are actually pretty normal people, and they've just got good systems in place. They've worked hard for it, and they deserve to be exactly where they are. And also being aware that not everyone's abnormal is different. It's a very subjective measure. For example, your abnormal is running this race. My abnormal is starting a podcast and trying to make the podcast a success. So my question to you is, what was the one piece of advice you would give to anyone out there who's listening, watching, who's looking to do something abnormal in their lives?
Ooh. Um, looking to do abnormal. I'd say that your habits really decide your future more than doing big things every day. It's the small things which are more important, to be honest. Because if you do small things every day, like anyone can go and smash one gym session, anyone can go and smash one intense run. But if you can manage the small things every day, like that's way more important than these doing these big goals. So you can't. First of all, you can't achieve a big goal without taking care of the small things in the first place. So it's all about small things, consistency. That would be it, to be honest. Taking care of the habits.
And again, I referenced it earlier, but the other guests we've had on the show who have very different backgrounds to yourself have a lot of them have said very similar things, and it just goes to show that sort of that abnormal mindset, how it can be implemented in different areas of life. And I love speaking to athletes as well, because even though you're obviously doing something very physically challenging, mentally challenging, who's to say one day you might end up running your own business, right? Or starting your own venture or doing something different outside of health and fitness. The athlete mentality is one that will definitely, or hopefully hold you in good stead in the future, knowing that, little by little things can be achieved. No target is too big. And it's really something that I see in a lot of the athletes that I speak to on the show or off the show, who really have that similar mindset and kind of bring those lessons from sports into what they're currently doing in business and in life. So
that's exactly what you're doing. That's exactly what you're doing.
That's what I'm trying to do, mate. That's what I'm trying to do. And it's a very different learning curve, to be very honest with you, because in my head, health and fitness and sports is a lot easier. You have a target, you put a training plan in place, and hopefully you achieve that target. Putting that in business, where you don't know what the small steps are. If in training, if I want to run a quick 5K, I know what the training steps are. I know what I need to do. I need to do 4 runs a week. One needs to be a tempo. One needs to be an interval. One probably needs to do a long run and one recovery run. So I know those steps are in place. Whereas, okay, I want to launch a successful business. I want to launch a successful podcast. That's the goal, but I don't know what those steps are. And so you've got to figure those out, like your step one, like you've never ran before, like you've never gone to the gym before. So it's you've got the mindset, you've got the skeleton, but it's actually figuring out what those steps are. And it's an exciting journey, and it's one that a lot of people go through in different areas of life, which is why it's not just relevant for sports, just relevant for business. But it's great to talk to people like yourselves, to pick your brains and ask the exciting questions about these crazy things that you're doing. So thanks for your time, mate. And it's been a conversation I've been wanting to have for a long time. For those of you that don't know, Seb and I have been DMing for about 9 months now, just fanboying each other, and I've loved it. And so thank you again, man. And I'm sure it's not going to be the last time we catch up on this challenge. I'd love to do another one, maybe mid-challenge, to see how the first leg got on and how your skiing update is as well.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully I'll still be going at that point.
I'm sure you will. I've got no doubt, mate. No doubt. I'm a fan from afar. I've been loving your content for a long time. If you don't follow Seb,
thank you very much.
Definitely get on. It's damn good content, and it's good to see. Very inspirational stuff. Thank you, man.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Abnormal Podcast. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and give us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you are listening to on right now, as it really goes a long way to growing the show. Thank you, and see you in the next one.